Hi, my name is Leena Munro, and I'll be hosting this week's episode of Close Look. And I'm here with Mita Naidu, really wonderful person. I'm really fortunate to be able to interview her today. She's not only absolutely stunning, you are stunning. She's one of the few South Asian fashion designers here in the Lower Mainland. Mita, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the lovely compliments.
Oh, it's just that I look at you and all I feel are these positive sensations and words, and you're a really beautiful person. And the reason why, we really wanted to talk to you today is because you're doing something that is quite different in the South Asian community. You are the creative director and founder of Lotus Eye, which is basically a fashion house. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you do and about Lotus Eye?
So yes, I am the creative director of Lotus Eye. And what I do is design every element in the collection, market every element in the collection, PR every element in the collection, and then sell every element in the collection. So that's it.
Okay, so when you say the collection, can you describe to us what your particular fashion collection is? What is Lotus Eye?
I think Lotus Eye can best be described by saying it's a collection where less is more, where elegance kind of trumps bling, and simplicity is kind of haute couture. So it's contemporary Indian clothes because I do a lot of fusion pieces as well, even though fusion is kind of a strange word, but I do dresses and lehenga bottoms and stuff. But what I kind of find is that I'm my ideal customer, me and my girlfriends like you, who want to have something contemporary, glamorous, and want to kind of emulate what the designers are doing in India. And that's what I'm doing as well, is following that trend.
You're kind of like, the Vera Wang. So in a sense, you're kind of like the Vera Wang or the Mita Wang of fashion, aren't you? Wang Ji? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I really do agree. You're right. As a young South Asian woman, and I look at some of the collection that you have, and it is stuff that I would wear. And I recently attended your last fashion show, and I was blown away by how that's exactly what it was. It was very elegant. It was very, in some ways, I don't know, it was very much like, this is something that I could see myself wearing, but wasn't really offered in a lot of stores. How did you get this idea? Where did this all come from? How did you begin Lotus Eye?
My inspiration kind of came from a loss for me. And so I had always been a professional dancer. Ballet in my younger days, Bharatanatyam, a classical Indian dance, as I grew up and maintained that professional level of dance. And I suffered a ligament tear and a surgery on my right knee. I recovered from that, kept dancing, and then it happened again. Another ligament blew in my right knee, and I had another knee surgery. So after 2 knee surgeries, my surgeon said, there's nothing left in your knee, so it's time to stop. So I performed in the Olympics under South Asian Arts, and it was a wonderful experience, but that was kind of the end for me, the Winter Olympics. And after that, I had kind of spent 1 month a little bit lost. When that creative outlet, when that artistic side is so prominent in your life and then disappears completely, you're kind of in a strange place. So what I decided to do was make a side hobby, something that I had done kind of casually for friends and family, into a permanent thing. And I researched it just enough to get enough going so that I could go to India and start my collection. And that was a year ago. And it's almost like I started a little bit ignorant of what it really took. And had I known the amount of work and the difficulty, who knows where I would have been. But I kind of went into it naively, and it was the best decision I ever made.
It's a situation where, life handed you lemons and you made lemonade, but kind of like fashion lemonade, wouldn't you say?
That's exactly right. I made fashion lemonade.
And I can say it tastes good, Mita. It tastes really good. So now you had just touched on a point a moment ago about how if you'd known how much work was involved, it might have scared you. And can you comment a bit more on the expectation you had going to India and starting this versus the reality of it? What were some of the things that you came across? And explain to me the experience of it.
It's been a journey, for sure, and it's still one. The first barrier I had to surmount was my mother. We come from a family of academics and generations of academics. And when I told her I was going to start a business from scratch with no experience and no real knowledge, she was the first one to point out that, you know, it might be a bit of a struggle. And I had to convince her that this was my real passion. And once that was communicated to her, that was the first major obstacle for me, was to kind of tell my mom I'm leaving the family business of academia and I'm starting my own path. So that was a big hurdle. Getting to India was not as daunting as I anticipated. I have contacts there in fabrications and embroideries and stuff like that. So I was able to kind of get things going. So what I did was I source saris in Calcutta, and then I get them made how I want them, digitally printed or whatever. And then I go to Chennai, I source more fabrics. I only use pure fabrics in my collection. So those are two important places where you get beautiful, traditional, natural fabrics. So being from Calcutta myself, I had a connection there and a friend in Chennai. And then I came to Bombay on the other coast to get everything finished and everything made and manufactured and embroidered. So I do that kind of triangle. I've done that twice now. Left the family under the care of my wonderful husband and my mother, my two children, and Skyped them every day, but somehow managed to make it work.
Wow. So basically, I mean, and this is part of my imagination. I mean, it makes me just dizzy thinking of how exciting this must be. You're a fashion designer and you've got these ideas and you go to different cities in India, you source the material, you get the designs all printed. By doing all of this, I mean, has there been anything that, now that you've done it twice, those two different trips, has anything become easier? Or was anything surprisingly a difficult challenge that you didn't expect, that sort of thing? What has your experience been like in the actual logistics behind what you do?
Challenges included definitely getting tailors to make avant-garde designs. It's quite interesting. You really have to battle tailors because they see it in a particular way and they've done thousands of garments a particular way. So when you say, I would like the dress to pull from the back and wrap over the shoulder, they kind of stare at you with a blank look and you kind of have to sit on top of them, forcing them to do it your way. So that was definitely something I hadn't anticipated. Also, one thing that's really missing and that's changing with the dynamics of fashion, Western and Asian and globally, is the concept of handwork, hand craftsmanship. Everything is machine done, and those families for generations that have done beautiful embroideries or a particular type of local traditional work, that's dying out, and that's hard to find and source. Wow. Yeah, and it's a shame.
I'd like to actually now look at some pieces in your collection, and I know that I have a sense that each piece has its own story. So do you mind maybe showing us a few pieces and telling us the story behind those? Is that okay? Yeah.
I would love to. Let's do that.
That was absolutely beautiful. Your collection is absolutely beautiful, and I can see there's a lot of inspiration, a lot of love behind a lot of the work and the pieces you've chosen. So, is there someone in particular that has inspired you?
I would say so. I would say my biggest barrier was also my biggest inspiration. So I would say my mom. And I'm not saying that because she might watch this. I actually mean it. She has an absolutely impeccable eye and a standard of taste as far as saris and her clothing out of anyone I've ever met. So she's got an archival collection of saris, and she made a decision as a young person during the transition from British rule to self-rule in India that she was never ever going to wear a Western garment again. And she was a young child at this time. So from that point on, it was that sense of self and that sense of pride in the world's oldest designed garment, as far as I'm concerned, that kind of filtered down to me.
That's amazing. You know, the way you described your mother as having this impeccable sense of style. I actually think of you. With those words describe you, Mita. I'm not kidding. I've known Mita a couple of years, and I've always sensed that about you. I've always thought that about you. I'm like, every time I see Mita, she looks so good. Great style, lady. So I'm assuming something, but I want you to let me know. I'm assuming that you're living your passion. Is that true? Are you living your passion?
It's absolutely 100% my passion. I've never had a job where on Sunday night I'm excited for Monday, where you don't sleep. 7 days a week this is on my brain, and I'm inspired by museums, by art galleries, by food, by music. Wherever I walk in this world, there's a source of inspiration for me. And that's, I think, a sign that I'm living my passion. I couldn't be happier.
That's so a sign. Do I inspire you? Can you create a Leena?
I absolutely could, and I would.
Oh.
You are my muse.
Oh. In that you are living your passion, and which I commend you on, I think is absolutely wonderful, and I think that's how everyone should live the short little life that we have, passionately and thoroughly. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, and where do you see Lotus Eye in about 5 years?
Let me just add to that I do recognize that living your passion is a privilege. It's not available to everyone to do, and so I've had the support and the backup from my family to be able to do this. And I recognize, and I'm humbled by that fact, that I know it's a privilege and that people would want to do this, but sometimes cannot. So I'm one of the lucky ones in that way. I don't take it for granted. And I think in 5 years, I want to have this house established as far as an actual line, an actual collection. I've only been in business a year, and it's been recognized by mainstream fashion, which is important to me. And that's what I want. I want to educate mainstream fashion. I want the sari to become a staple word and language in fashion. Not an ethnic thing, not a separate, isolated Indian thing, but a main piece. It's the oldest, as I said before, the oldest designed garment in the world. It fits everybody, literally everybody. So I want that education, that knowledge to be in the minds of everybody, the mainstream community. And I want this to grow, and I want to always have my point of view and never have it filtered. That's what I hope for in 5 years.
Wow, thank you so much for that. It inspires me. It reminds me of something that I don't know if you're aware of. I personally love the sari. If I could wear one 24/7, I would. And you know what? I think I just might. I think I just might walk out of here wearing one of your saris. If you cut me a deal, maybe. Okay, we'll talk. And thank you so much for joining us here on Close Look. This is Mita Naidu, who is the creative director as well as the founder of Lotus Eye. Mita, where can people learn more about Lotus Eye?
As currently right now, my website is under construction. So go onto Facebook and type in Lotus Eye, and you will add me as a friend. And all my albums, all the collection is on that page.
Also, is there another fashion show coming up? Will there be a fashion show in the spring?
There will be a fashion show in the spring.
Okay, well, we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you.